Sir.
Carmen, same thing. If you could just start us off with your thoughts on this matchup coming up on Saturday or Sunday, excuse me.
Yeah, I think we've done a really good job as a staff and as a program to take it a game by game. And I think this opportunity here is everyone's, we've already pointed out we didn't get the amount of points we wanted and maybe the momentum and the performances that would have elicited those points in the games recent. So I think we get an opportunity with a 4-day lead in to get it right, to get more aspects of our performance right. And I'm really excited actually for this opportunity when we see that we haven't really got point against North Carolina ever in the history. I think that's motivating. That's really motivating. And it's something that it's not, our job is to put our heads down and get our stuff right. And that's what we've been doing all week.
Questions?
Carl, kind of similar to what I asked Jay, like as a coach, when you look at the attack,
Yeah.
what are you noticing as areas where you point and say, this is probably what's holding us back from scoring what we want to score?
Yeah, as a coach, you look at the construction, the process, how we get to the final quarter, final thirds, what decisions we're making in and around goal, how we're interacting with each other. Did we see that you had an option there? Did we cross it prematurely? Was the box loaded? Giving them sign signals and cues to continue to look at more closely to help guide their decision making. And I think that's really what it comes down to is decision making. And then you can argue quality in and around goal, getting things. If we're on frame and there is a perfect cross, and maybe there doesn't exist, but if the cross comes in, what quality are we in technically in that moment to get it on frame, to hit it with the right surface of the foot, to hit it with the head when necessary, to go and attack it and not let it attack you. So all those details is what we do day in and day out. And obviously we're trying to chip away at setting the players up in the best possible positions to do that.
I'm sure it's a little bit of both, but if you had to assign percentage to mentality or technique when it comes to that, is it a divide or is it pretty even to execute better?
I'd go 50-50 at this moment in time. If you were to ask me maybe 5 weeks prior or 5 weeks from now, what do I say? I said right now it's about 50-50. I think if we're not making the right decision, the cross becomes premature, and then therefore the technique is compromised because we're not in the right position. So it's 50-50 at the minute. And I would say specifically against the Bay game, almost being more comfortable having possession for longer stretches is what happened last game. We had the ball, had more time and space. It's like the burden or the blessing of possession. Depends on how you look at it. And I think the more time you have, sometimes the harder decisions are. Makes sense.
Looking forward to North Carolina. I mean, you touched on what's happening, but how important is it to go out here and get 3 points before the break?
Yeah, I would go as far as to say getting a result would be a step forward for us. Everybody goes in to win, but for us, knowing the history, I wasn't here. Like Jay mentioned earlier, it's not like we have a group that's living in that past. Oh, we've never beat North Carolina, and that's not the narrative. I think for us, it's about going in, giving a resilient performance, bouncing back, knowing what that response is going to be from the team is almost more important. And I think we'll then elicit a result, whatever that may be. But we need to be proud of how we do that.
Just about every season in racing has had a stretch of matches where they felt winnable and the performances hadn't get there.
Okay.
Do you feel like something like that is weighing on the players this year, or is that something they're able to kind of put out of their mind and just focus on the match at hand?
Yeah, such an maybe because I haven't been here during those previous stretches, I don't feel a heaviness around it. I feel personally as a staff in this situation excited to get it right, excited to sit down with the players individually, collectively, and say, what are we not getting? How can we get closer to that understanding? And I can't speak to why exactly. I think that's the $1 million question. We all want to answer that, but I think at this point it's next task, getting it right for this game plan.
What have you noticed about Bev getting to work with her full time for a year so far?
It's been amazing to see her as a head coach again for the first time, showing her identity every day through the staff, how she wants to lead, how she wants to play. And she's very, I think what works well with us is that she's so collaborative as well. She allows us to discuss ideas, concepts, strategies. And I love that cohesiveness across the staff. That's a great opportunity. And I do think the team is coming into the identity that she's working so hard to create for all of us. She's a great leader. She's a great human being. And I know she's all things to all people, right? She's a friend when you need her to be. She's a leader when you need her to be. She can be, you know, all the sides of her. So I admire her a lot for what she's doing and how she's doing it and the way she goes about her work.
And you've been in the coaching ranks, various roles
Mhm.
for a long period of time.
Yeah.
What is something about being a first-year head coach, even particularly now at this club in this league, is unique that people would not understand unless you've kind of seen it from that point of view?
Yeah, what's unique, I think, is going from an assistant to a head coach, which was my journey as well. I can only speak to my journey because I don't know Bev's
Right.
experience in this. I think if I were to hone it back to me, it's sort of that it's the pressure, the scrutiny, the consequence of every decision is so loud, right? And I think you know that here, but then you feel it and see it, and then absorbing that and still getting on with your way, staying true to who you are, staying true to your philosophies, even when things get really, really tough, you know, not abandoning things. Like that's, as a head coach, you got to step into that power a little bit and endure it. There's a part of the season, maybe the one you're referring to, where you endure a bit of, that was tough, but I'm not gonna rip it up and start again. I'm gonna, you know, continue to stick to my guns here. And so, yeah, I think it's a little bit of that. And then as pressure wears on you less and less, and that's what the experience does, I think.
How much advice do you try to give at all about like what that transition was like for you, and if
Yeah.
you see anything that she's struggling with during the season, maybe you did you try to offer any of
Yeah.
that to her?
Look, I think we're connected. I think we've always been, and I think that's the best part of me coming in. And I think whenever asked my opinion, I'll offer that. I guess my full thing, and I said this at the very beginning, was never to impose, because the way I would do something doesn't matter. It's more how to complement and bring out what she wants and finding my way within that. So yeah, we have a lot of deep conversations. We have a lot of, you know, tough conversations at times, but I think that's the stretch and challenge. And I think that's the healthy part of the assistant head coach relationship is, you know, I'll always say what I sometimes I say, this is my football opinion. It may not land in the way that, you know, but this is what I think we could do. And then I don't feel good about that. That's not, no worries. You let it go, right? It's not a fight. So those are the best parts of the job, in fact.
Does it add a little bit more difficulty factor heading into this road match really at Northtown instead of playing them probably here with your crowd behind?
I don't even know. I feel like I've been here 6 months and I'm used to the road already. It's like come so fast. You're like, I have to pack again. Like really? My laundry's not done, you know? So all to say, I understand, you know, we're out of routine when you travel and things are a little bit more challenging. Traveling from Louisville, as you all know, is not ideal. I think it's just part of what we do now. I have to believe that even for myself. It's like you got your toiletry bag, you're ready, you're going, you know. No, I'm not going to put too much into that. I think the result is needed and we got to get it right no matter where we are.
Sorry, go ahead.
You've coached in other leagues, but the WCL is kind of its own special
Yeah,
league with
big
its
time.
added pressure. Does that just the fine margins that there are in this league, is that added pressure on a head coach, assistant coach? It's just because those margins are so small and it's just like one little tiny thing
Yeah,
can make a difference
so
in a
true.
match.
You're so right on that. And I think I've reframed that in motivation because it's like I'm part of the set piece. I'm a set piece coach. So for attacking corners and free kicks and kickoffs, and of course we want more. We haven't scored a lot. You know, defensively, you're giving something away. You're looking at, she got on the inside shoulder of you. That player's never scored a goal like that in her life. But all of a sudden, that's the game winner. So what am I saying? That we're motivated to get those details right. More so than letting it bog us down, because in some games you'd see, like, I think at the beginning, a couple own goal ricochets, and we're like, man, structurally she was in a great space. You know, and these players on other teams are just that exceptional or taking advantage of the moment, and that is what's different in this league on any given day. And I've always said it, but now I feel it being in the league, that on any given day anyone could win. And that's maybe what makes it so exciting.
Speaking of coaching in other leagues, you coached in League MX.
Yeah.
Prior, and we're getting ahead a little bit. We've got the League MX tournament coming up. How excited are you for that? And what kind of insider knowledge do you bring playing against that kind of team?
Yeah, the Rayadas thing is like near and dear to my heart with that rivalry I, endured, if you want to put it that way, when I was at Tigres. New coach with Valverde there, so it is not like I can say, oh, they play this way. I've scouted and I've looked at the way they play and I get a good idea now, but they are different. Come on, players are in and out, and that was 2 years ago for me, year and a half anyway. So all to say, it is exciting from an emotional perspective. There's like a passion around, let's get this done, and them just winning makes makes me want to kill them even more in a good way. In a good way. I mean, you can quote that. It's just Rayadas and Tigres. It just doesn't happen. You know, you don't ever want them to. Nah, just kidding. In the spirit of the game, it's going to be a really, really good matchup. And I think it's so exciting to have a Summer Cup that has all this international flavor, new opponents, new styles of play. I think it's great for the game. It's wonderful for the game.
Last
Jay,
one.
Jay talked about how important Taylor's been, and I don't know what the specific status update on her is, but it
Right.
looks like she's getting back into
Yep.
training.
Ready
and
to
came
go.
out of that
Mhm.
pretty well.
Mhm.
How big is that for you guys because that was a pretty scary collision.
Yeah, more than anything, just wanted her to like, it was so scary the way that the keeper came out like that. And it was unfortunate because she was actually her first time she got super free on a free kick. So it was so devastating in all ways. And she's good. She's back. It's big for the group in all the ways. I think no matter how she factors into this next game, it's going to be amazing to have her back, her presence, her spirit. Like Jay said, just what she can do on and off the ball, both sides of it, and in set pieces are incredible. So we're so happy to have her back, but we're lucky enough to have a deep squad. So I think we're ready no matter what happens with Tay.
Kind of feeling out if she'll start or sub, not quite there yet.
But
That
yeah, we have a good idea of what she's available for, and we're nearly there with our decision making. But we're so happy she's available. That's the best part, you know.
Thank you.
Okay.
thanks, Carl.
Thank